So many of us think that there's only one kind of waffle. Boy, you could not be more wrong. And today I'd like to introduce you to the magical world of the perfect waffle. Okay, so today we're making waffles, but not just any waffles. We're making the 3 best versions of waffles that I can think of. We have the traditional sort of quick little baking soda, you throw it in the pan and it's done. Then we're gonna make a classic Belgian liege waffle, the one that you rise, okay? A lot of people don't make this because they're like, oh my gosh, I have to put the yeast and wait for it to rise, that's so hard. No?
Listen, Sharon.
I'm joking. Any Sharons out there, Papa Keys, all right? My point is that you just have to wait for like 40 minutes to do that. It's not that bad. And then the third will be a classic mochi waffle. I wanted to originally do these mochi ones with ube, but I couldn't find any in the amount of time because they're really freaking hard to find. But I will do another guide that's further in depth about mochi later. But despite all that, we're gonna make these 3 waffles and then we're gonna decide if there is a perfect waffle of all time. So with all that said, let's make this, shall we? Okay folks, although I can enjoy Shrek as much as the next guy, we won't be making any donkey references in this video. Instead, we'll be making Mr. Easy Peasy quick waffles, classic Belgian liege waffles, and last but certainly far from least, mochi waffles with whipped cream and bananas Foster topping. We're getting real naughty with that one. Let's start things off with the easy, more Americanized waffles. Start with a medium-sized bowl and add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and give it some To that, you'll add half a cup of buttermilk, which looks alarmingly thicker than normal, 1 cup of whole milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs plus an additional egg yolk. Start whisking that together, then once it starts to form a batter, slowly stream in 3/4 of a cup of gently melted unsalted butter. Then once all of that is incorporated and homogeneous, then you have your lovely batter. That's really it. Now all you have to do is preheat your favorite waffle iron, spray it with cooking oil, add enough batter to fill out the iron about 3/4 of the way around, gently close it completely, and let it cook, flipping almost immediately after you've closed, assuming it can flip, and allow it to cook until it reaches a beautiful golden brown and is cooked through, which could be anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes depending on the size of the waffle iron. Now pop that bad boy out of your iron and that's a gosh darn beautiful waffle. If I'm being honest. To serve this, you'll give it that good classic pat of butter, a generous glug of pure, unadulterated, high-quality maple syrup. Something about these syrup drizzles activates a carnal desire part of the human brain, and my body is ready for it. But before we do the taste test, let's move on to our Belgian liege waffles. This is a classy yeast-risen batter, which gives it its undeniably special flavor. So first start with 1 cup of whole milk, heated to around 95 Fahrenheit, then whisk in 2 teaspoons of instant yeast and let that sit for 5 minutes at room temp. In a separate, medium-sized bowl, add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1½ teaspoons of fine sea salt, 2 room temp eggs, 1 egg yolk. Start whisking that together, then once that's combined, stream in 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's been gently melted. Emphasis on
gently.
Don't get all excited on me and get your butter piping hot unless you plan on making scrambled eggs in the bowl. Be sweet to the butter, gently coerce it into a liquid state by singing it hymns from an ancient self-help book. Now, in a large bowl, add 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. To that, you'll make a small well, add your yeasty milkman, your egg mixture, then start mixing that by hand until a shaggy dough forms. Then begin kneading that for about 5 minutes, giving it a few slap and folds here and there until you get a smooth
dough.
Yes, it will be sticky. Don't worry. Now lightly shape that into a ball, place in a greased bowl, cover with plastic wrap, of course, and give it a classic personality. Then just let that rise at room temp for 1 hour or until doubled and plump and juicy. Then just punch all the gas out of your dough and add in 1½ cups of pearl sugar to your dough. Knead that all in until it's evenly dispersed throughout the entire dough and has been completely absorbed. There shouldn't be any remaining in the bowl. From there, you'll divide your dough into 6 to 12 pieces, again, depending on the size of your waffle maker. Cover them with a greased plastic wrap and let them rest for 10 minutes. Sure, the dough looks like it's been rolled in crumpled styrofoam, but I can assure you that it's gonna be very jummy. Not the styrofoam part, don't do that. Now the last bit is as easy as the other. Heat up your waffle iron, spray it with cooking spray, add in enough of your dough to fill out about 3/4 of the iron, close it firmly to disperse, and let it cook for about 20 seconds, give it a flip if you can, and let it cook until a beautiful deep caramelized golden brown. Then just carefully remove it from the iron, try not to burn yourself, and serve that topped with assorted berries of your choice. Here I have strawberry, blackberry, and blueberries, although I'm not really a huge fan of blueberries. Sorry to the blueberry homies. Optionally, hit that with a light dusting of powdered sugar, and that is your beautiful liege waffle. Now we have our last, final, and arguably most exciting one of the day, the mochi waffle. In a large bowl, add 1 egg, whisk that together until you guessed it, homogeneous. Now, while constantly whisking, stream in 3/4 of a cup of whole milk, 2 tablespoons of gently melted unsalted butter. See, that's gently again, all right? We're not slapping the butter around. Once combined, half a teaspoon of fine sea salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Once combined and creamy, add in 1.5 cups of Mochi sweet rice flour, link in the description for that. Whisk all that together until you get a thick, almost paste-like batter, then pour that into a piping bag and set that to the side while we make our banana foster for the people. In a large pan, add a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, heat that over a medium heat until it's melted, then add 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar, stir that to disperse, and as soon as that melts and begins to simmer, add in 3 bananas that have been sliced into 1/2-inch thick coins. Try to keep them evenly separated and let those cook in the simmering buttery sugar mixture for about 1 minute or till caramelized on the underside. Give them all a little flip. And yes, it's tedious to flip each and every one, but we like it to be precise here, okay? It's almost like you're giving each little banana slice a kiss by flipping them individually. Now hit that with a small pinch of salt, a light sprinkling of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and finally a 1/4 cup of good quality rum. Pump the heat up to medium-high, and as soon as that liquid comes to a simmer, ignite the steam using a kitchen torch, and do me a solid and stand back if you want to keep your eyebrows. Now once that ignites, give it a good old classic Flameo Hotman, and constantly shake the pan to stir and emulsify the sauce as it forms into a beautiful glaze, coating each banana lovingly, just as we flipped each lovingly. As soon as the flame goes out, cut off your heat, and that right there is your rum caramel banana foster. Now back to our waffles. You've heard this spiel before. Heat your waffle iron, fill with your batter, which by the way, if you want more than 4 of these Mochi waffles, you'll likely need to double this recipe. Just a heads up. Anyway, close your waffle iron and allow that to cook until a beautiful, almost cloud-esque looking waffle emerges from your waffle iron. Something about this waffle looks almost cartoonish and special at the same time. But to take it even further, we'll add a fat quenelle of a chantilly cream, which is literally just a slightly sweetened whipped cream, optional but very gemmy. A generous helping of your bananas foster, followed by a drizzle of the rum salted caramel. And Lord have mercy, the double caramel whipped cream drip is gonna have me singing to the moon about my sorrows, for I am about to blush. Now let's find out if there's a true king of waffles here and begin the taste test.
Wow, look at these waffles. Hell yeah, we have 3 different kinds. We have Belgian, we have, it's kind of Americanized, this version, it's fast. And last but not least is the Mochi. Yeah. I wanted to originally do this with ube, but we didn't get the ube here in time, so boo-bay. Let's start with Mr. Traditional. Okay, it's like an upscale adult Eggo waffle. Is there a problem with that? Hell no, there's a certain beauty to that, and it's easy and fast to make. What's wrong with that? The liege waffle. Don't forget to buy my book, by the way. The link is in the description. Pre-order today, all right? The pre-orders are very helpful. You're just gonna let that happen in vain? Wow, look at all the content in that. Liege. So, the outside's crisp, but the inside is chewy. I like a chewy waffle. It's almost kind of brioche-like, I would say. It looks like a bread, which is nice. Oh, damn, this is good. That's good. Bro. Cody, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this at all. Shout out to Kelsey too. It's essentially like an ultra chewy, crispy, caramelized on the outside, brioche version of a waffle. That's what I'm detecting from this. Do I need to say more? Because if I do, you just shouldn't be here. Sorry. Last but not least is this Mochi waffle. Now, there's a whole lot of other things about this that look amazing, which is the bananas foster on top, the whipped cream. Come on. Texture, this is insane. Oh, wow. This is the best by far, easily. I didn't even get any of the toppings. Just texturally as a waffle, this is what every single waffle should be, period. End of story. Yes! Caramelized to perfection. It's a little crunchy. The whipped cream provides richness, like we always do. All right, Vic, I'm gonna give you the perfect bite. Can you fit this in your mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Like, I'm actually blown away by how good this is.
It gets better as you go. Like, you start and you're like, oh, this is really good. And then it sticks in your mouth. And the banana foster comes in, the whipped cream comes in, all coming together, one good, best one. Best waffle I've ever had.
It's not always about what's better, because this isn't about better first off. My personal preference leans towards the Mochi. If you've never made this before, this is just as easy to make as this. Just go get some freaking rice flour, put it together, and you might just have one of the best waffle experiences of your gosh darn life. Now go on and get.
You wanna know what else has Papa's syrupy drizzle stuck in your mind all day long? B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. So we made our 3 waffles, and you know what? A beautiful story developed. Isn't that nice? And that story is that, well, really any waffle is delicious. It all comes down to the eating experience that you want. Despite all these different versions and ways that you can make it, I personally felt that the mochi one was the most interesting in texture and flavor, and it still retained the beauty of what a waffle is. I would eat that more than the other waffles that were there. And it doesn't require that much more prep. Really, actually, any at all. So, whatever. And I'm not just talking about the bananas on top, okay? The bananas are real good. The liege waffles, classic, with on the outside. And then, of course, there's our sort of more Americanized quick version that's kind of like a giant eggo, which, hey, can't complain about that either. The choice is always yours. Don't overthink it. Now, with all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you